Recording. Let's take both hands onto the belly, feeling for the breath in the stomach region as we inhale, pushing the stomach out against the hands. And then exhale, fully pulling the stomach muscles in and squeezing hard into the yoga block at the same time. Inhaling, pushing the stomach out against our hands, relax the thighs just a little bit. Pause, squeeze through the inner thighs and pull the navel in. Pull in the side ribs, fully moving any stagnant breath out from the lower parts of the lungs. Soften the thighs, inhale in through the nose. Pause, purse the lips, squeeze the inner thighs. Two more like this, mindfully coordinating the movement of the belly with the breath and contractions in the thighs. Squeeze the thighs, purse the lips, pull the navel into the spine. When you're ready, relax the shoulders down and back. Let's open the palms, standing tall in mountain pose. Let's shift forward and back. At any time, looking forward as if we were looking out to the horizon, or maybe even shifting the eyes up to where the wall meets the ceiling. Staying mindful when we shift to put pressure into the inner blade or ball of the foot and into the outer blade of the foot, those pieces of flesh that are just below the pinky toe and just below the big toe. The nerves in the SI joint and low back connect to these places. Let's pause, spread the toes out really wide, like a duck. On the next inhale, let's sweep the arms back and around, pressing in through the palms of the hands, and then exhale, blowing bubbles, squeezing the block as we circle the arms back. Inhaling, repeating this movement a few more times, squeezing the block, palms forward, one breath, one movement. Inhale, pressing with the belly. Inhale, thighs soft, looking up, palms forward, squeeze, purse the lips. At least one more, coordinating the movement with the arms, coordinating the way that the breath fills the body, and coordinating that contraction in the thighs. One more. Inhale up, exhale down. From here, let's take only the left arm back, up, and overhead, reaching with the hand as if you're trying to screw in a light bulb. So there's a little bit of rotation, and the palm is facing in towards the crown of your head. Shift over into the outer edge of the left foot. Imagine that your left hip is pressing down hard into that left leg. On the next inhale, breathe into the upper left lung and feel as if your ribs are separating up and away from your waistline. We could look up, turning the head and the neck with our gaze. This is very traditional. It's also probably the most strenuous, working against gravity. One more big breath. Exhale, sweep the arm back and around, placing the palm in towards your leg. Let's open the right hand. Inhale, take it back, open up, reaching to the sky. Option to look up, shifting into the outer edge of the right foot, pushing down into the right hip, down into the right ankle. Next inhale, breathe into the upper right lung, pulling up through the ribs. Imagine you're being lifted by 100 helium balloons, either looking up, straight ahead. Over the left shoulder is probably going to be the kindest stretch for the body because it really complements gravity. One more inhale. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, both arms coming up and overhead. Option to keep the palms open. Imagine you're holding on to a bowling ball. So there's weight pressing down into the shoulders. And at the same time, the bowling ball is attached to 1,000 helium balloons. So there's the weight pulling down into the shoulder joint, so your armpits get strong. Who wants strong armpits? Me. Imagine the bowling ball is tied to 1,000 balloons. So there's a sense still of lifting and extension, and yet the shoulders stay very stable and locked into the rotator cuff. Let's shift forward and add in a small lift through the heels, just enough to swipe a credit card under the feet, keeping the toes spread wide, coming up a little higher. Just a side note, there are some acupressure points in the front of the foot that connect to the bladder also. One more big inhale, reach, shoulders stay locked, reach with the stomach, more than the hands. Exhale, drop the palms. Let's take them out to the side like a T, bending the knees. We're flipping our tailbone back, taking the hands onto the thighs. Go ahead and turn the fingertips in and elbows out to the side. This might give us a little more room to work with range of motion as we work with lowering the belly down towards the thighs. Take a look at the feet, take a look at the knees. At this point, seeing that the ankles are the same distance apart as our knee joint. From here, we can take our arms out to the side like a T, keeping our back flat. We're flipping the palms as we lift all the way up and reach straight up to the sky, extended mountain. Inhale, big reach. Exhale, out to the side, flat back, palms in, belly towards the thighs. Arms extending to the side again, airplane expression. Inhale, flip the palms, standing tall. One more time, squeeze the block. Exhale down, fingertips in, pushing the hips back. Hold it there. From here, we might want to stay exactly where we are. The position we're in provides the most support to the spine structurally. We could always come back to this place as well. To play with this a little more, incorporating a bigger spine stretch, we can begin to straighten the legs. This will naturally pull on the muscles in the low back. We could also walk the hands past the knee joints, avoiding any pressure on the knee, hands coming down towards the shins, and then maybe bending the elbows and dropping the upper spine and back. Shaking our head out like a rag doll, shaking the head yes, and turning the head left and right. Deeply bending the knees, walking our hands up to the thighs, turning the fingertips in and elbows out to the side, showing a little love to the shoulders there. From here, arms extend out like a T, using our low back and hip muscles, squeeze that yoga block, inhale, press all the way up. Nice big breath. And then exhale, sweep the arms around and let the arms relax for a moment. Let's take our yoga block into our hands. We can hold the yoga block with the hands using the fingers. If this creates any type of cramping or discomfort at all, you could also neutralize the fingers, press the block with the heel of the hand instead, and it'll take away any weird angle also. So you keep the elbows in nice and tight. From here, we're sliding our left foot back, a very casual stride. Imagine you have on 6-inch heels on a cobblestone road. That's how casual this step is. I know. Turn that left heel in, plant the foot down. The left leg is straight as we bend our right knee, holding it here. On the next inhale, straightening the right leg, reaching up overhead. Elbows might pull away just a little bit. 1, 2, 3, surprise. Lengthening through the body. Exhale, bending the right knee, pressing hard into the block. Let's shift forward. And as we shift forward, peel up the left heel, keeping the ball of the foot on the floor. Coming back, a little bit of a rock. Inhale, both legs straight. Exhale, coming forward, lifting that back heel. Couple more. Inhale, both legs straight. Gentle rocking motion, just like a boat, floating on the water, incorporating our theme of the water element, chakra 2. One more time, taking it forward, holding it here. We can take our block down onto our thigh in the most upright position, supporting our spine, keeping us lifted. Starting here, we're already working with a lot more weight bearing on the right leg, so working with more bone density help and strength on that right hip. We could experiment a little more with balance if we want, by bending that left knee and then rolling to the tippy toe. As soon as we come to the tippy toe, as soon as we take the ball of the foot off the floor, probably fewer messages going to the SI joint or your low back, making balance a little more challenging. Remember to smile about it. Same face, all poses. All right, so it's meant to be playful. Big breath and lick the toe. Just catch a bit of air. Just a bit of air, just a tiny bit. It doesn't have to stay lifted the whole time. It's just enough for the nervous system to get just a little jolt of a new experience and maybe to think about recruiting different muscles that help to prevent falling. Let's lower that back foot, both feet flat on the ground, picking up our block, bending the right knee, traditional warrior one. Inhaling, reaching the arms overhead, lowering the chin enough so that an egg can roll off of our head. If you want to get a little more refined with warrior one today, lift the left heel and swivel it back so that we have both toes forward, left leg straight and right knee bent. There's an energy pulling up from the armpits, and there's an energy pressing down through the soles of the feet. This is known as Pada Bandha. This is locking us to the earth. Closing the eyes, even for just a few breaths. When we close the eyes, it is very common for the body to maybe move into a little bit of a sway. Just try to go with the flow. Go with the flow. All about that water element. One more big breath. And now exhale, pull the block down, and let's step to the top of the mat. We'll take a moment to put the block between the knees and the thighs, creating a foundation for alignment. Again, seeing that the knees are the same distance apart as the ankles. And if we're unsure, put the block between your feet, walk the ankles in. You'll keep the heels open just a little bit, but definitely the inner knuckles on by your big toe, and then pull that block up. And that's where we want the feet and the knees. And most people are usually surprised. They're like, wow, my feet were actually kind of wide compared to my knees, right? Keeping the knees soft, let's grab our block. We have our alignment in place. We're sliding our right foot back this time, allowing the heel to turn in, bending through the left knee. Inhaling, both legs straight, reaching up overhead, keeping the elbows in as much as possible. If it's hurting your shoulders, let the elbows go out. One more big breath. Exhale, right leg straight, left knee bends as we shift forward, coming to the point where we feel we are pressing straight down into the earth with all four corners of the left foot. Bending the right knee, we're peeling up the right heel. Inhale, take it back, right leg straight, left leg straight, reach it overhead. Exhale, coming forward, bending right knee, lifting right heel, little bit of balance. Two more, inhale to lift. If this is feeling really easy, you could always close the eyes. Shifting with the eyes closed can create some very different sensations for the body. One more, coming forward, holding it this time as we lift that back heel. Remembering at any time we can open our eyes and set the gaze. For the sake of balance, try lowering the chin. Inhale, lift your ribs. Imagine someone just put ice down the back of the shirt. Woo! That's where we want the spine to stay. Rolling onto the tippy toe of that back foot. We might already be aware of some muscles activating in the left leg or in the left hip. Remember to relax your jaw. Option to do a quick lift and bring it down. You're always welcome to hold it up the whole time. However, just a fraction of a moment, just a fraction of a moment with a lift is enough to initiate those processes in the brain that connect to the body. It's not always about strength and balance. It's about neurological connection that affects the strength and the balance. When you're ready, lower the back foot, bending the left knee, inhaling arms overhead, traditional warrior one. Naturally, most women will rotate their right foot out a lot. We could always work on refining the pose by lifting the right heel, swiveling it back, so that we do what's called a squared hip, both hips forward. Option to close the eyes. Inhale, shoulders are set, reach overhead, pull through the ribs and the gut. One more big breath. Exhale, pull this down, and let's step forward, lining up the hips. Taking our yoga block down to the floor. Let's step sideways on the mat, and I'll invite you to step onto your mat in any position where you're able to still see me. So this side of the room, you may want to come in this way. You all might want to come in this way. I just want to be sure none of us have to turn and look over our shoulder to see me for the next movement. We're taking our feet wide, heels in, toes out to the long corners of the mat. Let's bend our knees and see that the knees are bending in the same direction as your second, third, and fourth toe. Don't try to move it in the same direction as your big toe. If there's anything I've learned through the years, toes have personalities. So just go towards the middle toes. From here, we're taking the hands down onto the thighs, bending through the hips and the knees a little deeper. Push the hips back behind you, maintaining a flat back. Act surprised. That's what gives us that flat back expression. Pressing into the thighs, we're straightening the arms as much as possible to give us an expression of standing cow. Inhaling, lifting the chin. We're looking to where the wall meets the ceiling, or even lifting a little higher to see the ceiling tiles. Let your body decide with you on this. One big inhale. Exhale, pull the tailbone down and forward, kind of like a dog pulling its tail down between its legs. Pull the tailbone down and forward, and now bend the elbows and let your head hang loose. Bending deeply through the knees, flip the hips back, push into the thighs, and lift through the heart again. Looking up, big inhale, exhale, pull the tailbone under, and relax the upper back. So we're rocking that energy through the pelvis, coming up, press the tailbone back, lift through the heart, big inhale, pull the tailbone down and forward, bend the elbows, and drape the body. One more time, hands into the thighs, hips flip back, pressing into the thighs, arms straight, lifting through the chin and the chest, holding it here, pressing firmly down into the legs, no pressure on the kneecaps. Let's all, just for today, slide the hands up to the middle of the thigh bone. This is the largest bone in our body that can handle a lot of pressure. As we push into that thigh bone, we are able to fully lengthen and support the spine. Let's think about pushing into the inner and outer blades of our feet, with pressure distributed equally in the inner and outer blades of the feet. Think about lifting your left heel away from the floor. Think about it first, and then tell your body to do it. Let's place the foot down, thinking about the right heel, lifting the right heel, placing the foot down, a couple more times each side. Lift the left heel, and down. Lift the right heel, and down. Remember, ice down the back of the shirt. 1, 2, 3. Lift up, keep your spine lifted. Left heel up, and down. Right heel up, and down. Keep the left and right, relax your jaw. Option to lift both heels. Start with just enough to swipe a credit card under the feet. That initial impulse to lift the heels really high is very natural. We are implementing a practice of brahmacharya here, which means understanding where we need to do more, where we need less. Less here, less work, do less. When's the last time someone said that to you? I would like if you just did less for me today. Just do less, please. Relax your heels, bend the knees, slowly come up. Take the feet forward and in. Let's inch it and bring it to the top of our mat. Inhale, bringing both arms straight up and overhead. Exhale, swan diving into any forward fold that feels right for the body. Shake the head yes, and turn it left and right. We have our yoga block here at the top of the mat. We can use it to bring us down to the floor using a unique pattern of movement. We can take both hands onto that block, pushing straight down. Maybe slide one leg back, making sure the knees are softly bent. Bending both knees, coming down into a supported kneeling lunge with our block. Taking our other leg back. We're finding an all fours position. Moving into traditional cat and cow. At any time, if your knees are speaking to you, telling you that this is harmful to them, come around to seated. You don't have to stay on your knees for this. Let's take the block in between the knees and the thighs. And again, you could be seated with the block between the knees and the thighs, doing the exact same position, the exact same movement. From here, either with a flat palm or come down onto the elbow, and we can get pressure off the hands altogether. Let your body decide for you today. On the next inhale, we're flipping our hips back, pulling the heart forward, and lifting the head and the neck just a little bit. And again, you could be on the hands or on the elbows. Either one, the movement is the same for the spine. As we exhale, we're tucking the tailbone down, rounding the spine, and dropping the head down. Inhaling, coming into cow, hips flip back, lengthening through the spine, lifting the chin, maybe even lifting our gaze so that our eyes shift to where the wall meets the ceiling. Exhale, pulling the hips down and in, rounding the spine. One more, inhaling into cow. Squeeze that block hard, exhaling into cat. Coming to all fours. From here, we're taking our block just off to the side of our mat, left or right. Let's all come down onto our elbows for a moment. Inching our knees back, slowly lowering ourselves down onto our bellies. Pressing down into the elbows. The closer the elbows are into the body, the more we are able to encourage a back bend. And in yoga, back bends are the fountain of youth. The health of our spine is basically the health of the whole body. Not because of posture, because that is the energetic highway. That is the central nervous system, right? So spine health is imperative. From here, let's take the hands apart so that our elbows and wrists are at the same distance as our armpits. If you're noticing any pain in the shoulder or the neck, we could always take the elbows a little bit away from the body. Notice when I do this, it lowers my body down. So this is just going to be kinder on your upper back and spine. Keeping the hands open, Rotate the palms down and in, working to flatten the entire palm to the floor, keeping the hands open to the same width as the elbows and the armpits. We're working what's called the Miss America muscle. Okay? Cajun girls, this is your Mardi Gras day. This is your queen in port. There you go. So this muscle, this tiny pronator muscle, because it's a small muscle, it usually doesn't have the endurance, the same type of endurance to hold in place as your chest. And because of this muscle, a lot of the things we do in everyday life, this muscle gets tired, and so your chest goes, let me help you. And this is what compromises our posture. So we're working on that Miss America muscle. All right, go ahead and turn the thumbs up again. Push down into the elbows, pull the elbows back, and imagine your neck is like a turtle coming out of a shell. Press the shoulders away from the ears, opening up through the middle back, pushing your stomach and hips down into the floor. Remember to smile, Gail, smile. Press the palm down again. Notice if your hands inch in, take them apart. And now, think about bending both knees. There, and now try to lean into your right elbow and lift your left knee. And then come to center. Lean into your left hip, left elbow, push down into both elbows, lift your right knee. Remember to smile. Come to center. Over to the right, lift the left hip and left knee. Bring it to center. Make the feet dynamic. 1, 2, 3. Do it. 1, 2, 3. Good. Shoulders dynamic. Act surprised. Stay dynamic. Over to the hip. What is dynamic energy? It is your sheer will to create energetic connections in the body. Over to the right hip. Lift the left knee. Last one. Over to the left other hip, whatever hip you're on. Lift the other one. I have several left and rights. Okay. From here, extend the legs out. Walk your toes to touching. Point the toes. Lift the feet, squeezing the glutes, attempting to hover the knees. Let's take the elbows out and the arms out. So now, instead of using the arms for range of motion, let's use the core to see how high we can lift. On the next inhale, act surprised. 1, 2, 3. And come up. Option to lift your hands and lift your elbows. Relax. Complete reset. Big exhale. 1, 2, 3, surprise. Lift it all. Lift. Smile. And relax. Let's do a few more. Exhale all the way. Find the breath. 1, 2, 3. Big lift. Elbows pull back tight. Lat muscles. Relax. Find the breath. Inhale, exhale. 1, 2, 3, surprise. Big lift. Big smile. No tension in the jaw. And breathe. Relax. Let's walk the hands in close. Really close. You could also lace the fingers. Think about feeling your thighs in the mat, your knees and thighs in the mat. Start to tuck your toes under. Push into your thighs and knees to lift the buttocks and the hips. And now walk the elbows back. From here, we're looking forward. We can come to all fours, feet to one side, extending the legs out in front of us to find seated down. Let's take the block between the knees and the thighs. If this is feeling uncomfortable on the tailbone, this is a good time to grab a blanket or roll up the back of the mat. Sometimes when it's uncomfortable, if we don't provide extra cushioning, will naturally begin to rock back, and then it'll put too much pressure on your low back and sciatic nerve. So if you notice you're rocking back, or you feel kind of like your posture's gotten a little sloppy, go ahead and give the hips some cushioning. It's amazing how our bodies are just like always adapting, seeking comfort so we don't get hurt. Let's take our hands, thumbs past the hips. We're placing the fingertips down on the floor, fingertip light. From here, let's squeeze that yoga block and pull the toes up away from the floor. Usually when the toes are lifted like this, your knees are going to thank you later. From here, start to extend or lift the right heel off the floor, noticing if your foot turns out a little bit. This is very common for a lot of women. If our toes are out and our heel is in, chances are we're not activating as many pelvic floor muscles as what we could be. Rotate the toe in so that the kneecap, the shin, and all the toes are straight up towards the ceiling. Remember to smile. This should not be easy. Let's lower the heel. Again, looking at the feet, maybe even start imagining that you have a wall on either side of your feet so that it might look like your toe is in and your heel is out, but your feet are going to look like your shoes, basically, when your shoes are on the floor. Let's begin to extend the other heel, starting with just the gentlest hover off the ground. Practicing again, Brahmacharya. Work with just a subtle initiation of a lift. Give the body time to understand the mechanics of the movement, to recruit all of the necessary resources, and then maybe test the waters a little more and lift a little higher. If your hip gets shaky or wobbly, that's common. I can't say what is normal anymore ever, but I can tell you what is common with this movement. Slowly lower down. Shake off the ankles a little bit. Let's do a little bit of row the boat. Tiny little bit, working out the ankles. This is also strengthening ankles. All right, from here, let's lift our toes. Hands can go by the thighs. Hands can go on the floor. Hands by the thighs usually is going to test your core strength more. Inhale, sitting nice and tall. When in doubt, act surprised. Shoulders relax. Slowly begin to hover. Heel out, toe in. Knee straight up towards the sky. Lift your eyebrows. Tension in the hips, we can see it. We can see it in your jaw, and I can see it in the eyebrows and in the eyes. Slowly relax. Pull the other toe up. Sit tall. Slowly hover. Start small. This is also the practice of ahimsa. When we start small, we don't rush the body into something. Practicing patience, which is an extension of love and kindness, right? I've never heard anyone say, I love being around impatient people. I've never heard that, ever. So practicing patience. Lower down. Take the block off to the side. Let's bring in our right leg, extending the left. We could always take the left leg and take it out to the long edge of the mat. That could feel more comfortable. Something to watch for again today as we're working with chakra 2 and that energy in the pelvis and bladder. Notice how the leg will start to turn out a little bit. And again, this is very common with a woman's anatomical structure, especially if you've had children. So rotate it in. Pull the toe back, push down into your heel, and pucker up that knee joint just a tiny bit. You might even want to slide the heel back. If it feels good, great. If it doesn't feel good, just keep rotating in. From here, let's inhale, bringing both arms straight up overhead. Exhale, little turn from the waist towards that left leg. When you're ready, lower the hands down onto the floor. We're reaching more with the right hand. So reach with that right hand to the inside of the left foot. And now take the heel of your left hand and imagine you're pushing away. So you're creating more of a twist. So the heel of the left hand, I'm pushing down and forward into the heel of my left hand, which is going to help pull my left shoulder back. And then I'm reaching forward with the right hand. So in essence, I'm doing this movement. But you're using leverage. Relax the head and the neck. Imagine you're breathing underneath the right armpit and right shoulder blade. On every inhale, there's an opportunity to reach a little more, keeping the right hip pushed down into the floor. One more breath underneath that right shoulder blade. And now exhale, let's slowly inch the hands back and in towards the body and neutralize the spine at center. Let's bend our left knee and extend the right leg. As always, I like to remind all of our bodies, it can feel very different from left to right. This can feel very different on your waist, on your hips, and on your shoulders. So we just want to proceed with caution. Let's pull the toe up, drag the heel in so that there's a puckering, a little pocket of air under that right knee. Inhale, lengthening through the spine. Act surprise, pull out of the ribs. Exhale, turn, squeeze, and lower the hands down. So at first, little to no tension in the arms. We're building on the pose. Feeling first that the left hip is grounded into the floor, pressing back. Right hip is pressing down into the floor. Start to reach forward more with the left hand for the inside of that right foot. Take the heel of the right hand, push down and forward with the hand so that we begin to twist the shoulders, twisting towards the right. We might even look over to the right side of the body or over the right shoulder blade. The breath is under the left shoulder blade. It could feel very different from left to right with the breath. We might notice that we feel more expansion on one side versus the other. That's pretty natural. One lung is bigger than the other. Inhaling in through the nose. Exhale from the throat. Staying at least 2 more easy breaths. Jaw is relaxed. Let's slowly take both hands in towards the body, pressing up, and easy does it coming around to center. Bending both of our knees. If we're on a perch, let's hop off of that perch flat to the floor and unroll our yoga mats. Coming back onto our elbows, let's let the knees sway left and right a few times. Wherever it feels more comfortable, roll all the way over onto that one side, and we'll use our arms to bring us down into a sideline position. Pause here for 3 to 5 breaths, taking a little intermission from movement. So all the movement we've done to affect The lymph nodes, digestion, organ function, all these things we've done to open different energy centers, just embracing a little bit of stillness now, and perhaps letting those energies find order. When we're ready, we can roll over onto our backs. Let's bring our block in from beside us between the knees and the thighs in the most narrow position. Sensing that the feet are flat on the floor at the same distance as our knees. Let's extend the arms straight up towards the sky, almost like we're painting the ceiling. Reach the fingertips behind you, painting the back wall, and then setting the hands down maybe on the floor, knuckles resting on the floor, palms up. When you're ready, finding the inhale, let's lift the palms of the hands, lowering the palms down flat to the edges of our mat, outside the hips. Pushing down into our feet, let's squeeze the yoga block. Push straight down into all parts of the soles of the feet and begin lifting the hips, coming into bridge. Holding in bridge, imagine you're going to pull your heels back without moving the feet. Squeeze into that block, pressing in strong with the inner thighs. Try to relax the buttocks muscles, feeling a little drop in your hips. With this strong expression of bridge, we're putting less pressure into the low back, using less of the glute maximus muscles. Let's lower all the way down, lifting our heels, bringing our feet away from the floor until the calves are parallel to the floor, knees are stacked above the hip line. Holding it here, squeeze into that block. Option to lift the ankles and feet a little higher, pointing the toes. Option to bring the knees and the legs down, maybe just 2 inches, with the legs straight. Working on transverse abdominis, lower stomach core muscles. If you think you'd like to experiment going a little lower, feel free to do that, keeping in mind that lowering down usually is not the biggest challenge. It's coming back up. Can anyone else feel that? The lowering down is challenging, but it's the coming back up. Bend the knees a little bit, and now pull it back up. Straightening the legs, toes are pointed. Slowly bring it down, maybe 2 inches away. Maybe an inch more, maybe a little more. Protecting the low back, bend the knees, pull the knees in. Knees in line with the hips. Let's try a couple more. Legs straight, pointing the toes, squeezing that block, rotating the knees in towards the block, lowering down. Easy does it. Stopping at any point if we're sensing pain or any sensations that are so foreign that it could be dangerous. Bend the knees, pull the knees in. Just one more, straight leg, toes pointed. Last one, lowering down. Bend the knees and pull it in. From here, take the block off to the side of the mat. Let's straighten our legs and flatten our feet, imagining we're standing on the ceiling. Bring the knees and feet out to the width of your hips or wider. Wrap the hands around the sides or even the backs of the thighs. On the next exhale, slowly pull the knees in towards your shoulders and armpits,
finding a happy baby pose. Rocking is optional. So rocking is very commonly done in this pose. I will say sometimes there is a little bit of caution to be had here, or a little bit of awareness. We are weight bearing right now. We're weight bearing into the spine, we're weight bearing into the low back, the hips, the shoulders. If you know that you have existing osteoporosis in your shoulder blades, spine, hips, or low back area, maybe don't rock, because sometimes that rocking motion can create what's called a stress fracture in the body. Stillness is going to always be the safest place. Relax through the pelvis. As you inhale, feel the energy in the hips and pelvis expanding. Exhale, relax. 2 more. Slowly bring the knees into center, straightening the legs. Let's point and flex our feet and then roll out the ankles. Let your body stretch in any natural way, preparing for final relaxation. For final relaxation, Shavasana is the most common position that we are encouraged to move toward. That is legs straight, arms just beside the body with the palms up. I will add that that can be a really challenging position for a lot of our bodies. It could be challenging because of muscles. It could be challenging even just because of the nervous system. To lie down like this may not feel good. So you can always bend your knees. You could even sit up if you know that you just had enough lying down. Let's tune into the breath. This is where it all began today. The foundation of all things that come into existence, whether conscious or unconscious, begins with prana, begins with the breath. Begin to see an orange orb of light resting low in the pelvis and hip region. With every inhale, we witness the expansion of this energy. And every exhale, we witness a soft contraction. This orb of light is fluid in nature. So the expansion and contraction energy might begin to feel like filling up a water balloon as we inhale. And then as we exhale, with that contraction, we sense a little bit of resistance from that water element. For the next few inhalations, as we breathe in, orange energy expanding in the pelvis, hear the sound ah, using an inner voice to breathe in ah. For the exhale, using an inner voice, hearing the sound VUM, V-U-M, VUM. Inhale ah, exhale VUM.
Let's build the breath in the body, feeling that we breathe down low into the pelvis. Fill the lungs up to the middle waist. Then bring the breath up into the chest. Exhale, relax the chest, then the ribs, then the belly and the low back. Inhaling belly, ribs, heart. Exhaling heart, ribs, belly. Continue to fill the lungs and empty the lungs this way, allowing the breath to create this lovely undulation, a wave-like motion. Perhaps even noticing that this movement replicates a tide rolling in from the ocean to the shore, then pulling away and back out to sea. Inhaling the wave of the breath, washing over the body, through the hips, to the ribs, up to the chest. And as we let go, that energy pulls away, softening your chest, your ribs, the belly, and the low back. Tapping into that water element, begin to lighten up with every inhale, resonating with a sense of buoyancy, having the ability to rise above it all and float effortlessly. If there's anything at all that comes to mind right now with this question, let's acknowledge it. Is there anything disturbing your peace? It could be just today. It could have been something this morning. It could be something on your list of things to do that you anticipate is going to disturb the peace. Go ahead and acknowledge that thing if it's there. And with the practice of a parigraha, letting go, big exhale. Inhaling buoyancy, the ability to rise above it all and go with the flow. Exhale, let it go. When you're ready, wiggle your fingers and toes, and perhaps even breathing just a little deeper. That fraction of effort awakening the physical form. Carefully bending one leg at a time, feeling both feet on the ground. Anchor the energy through the feet. We may want to let the knees sway a little bit left and right, rolling us over onto one side before we make our way up into seated. From here, let's bring the palms together. Keeping the thumbs and pinky fingers touching, we're separating the middle fingers. Lowering the hands in front of the heart. This is called the lotus gesture. The lotus flower is quite remarkable as it begins usually in a small tight pod in some of the most stagnant and mucky, swampy looking water. And even in those stagnant, swampy, murky places, transformation can happen because of water. So the energy rises up, and then the lotus bud
opens, exposing thousands of pristine, perfect, clean petals. Such as yoga, such as life. From here, sitting nice and tall. Another big inhale. From here, we can press the palms together and bow together in closing namaste. Now we can all just go and have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Skila.
Have a great day.